Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Inside Scoop, the podcast where I give you an inside look into some of the most interesting people I come across. I'm your host, Christina, and today we're joined by my really good friend, Allie. So, Allie and I first met when we both moved to New York around the same time last year, I believe-ish. But this year especially, we've gotten really close as we spent a lot of time doing like really random stuff together, like making bracelets in the park, going to free Machine Gun Kelly concerts, and so many more nights that I wish I could tell you guys about, but unfortunately I don't remember them. Anyways, I'm so excited for you guys to meet her because she truly is one of the most interesting people that I know. And our conversation today is really lighthearted as we dive into dating here in New York, her experience moving around, like, I don't know, like different states, and so much more. So before we begin, if you're listening to this on Spotify, please give the show a 5-star. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the notification bell. No, I said that backwards. Please hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know when the next episode drops. And yeah, let's get started. Hi, Allie.
Hey, Christina.
Thank you for being on my podcast today. I'm actually so excited to have you.
Thanks for inviting me. I feel very cool.
Of course. I know you've listened to a couple of my podcasts, so you know the beginning is always a trivia. So it was actually really hard for me to think of like what to quiz you on, because like I feel like even though we spend so much time together, we don't really talk about like things like before we both moved to New York, right? So I was like, what can I ask her about? But anyway, so these might be kind of random.
That's okay. I'm excited.
Okay. The first one. So I know you used to love like, or you do love like Egypt and like Egyptian mythology. Egyptology. Okay. So this one, I think it's kind of easy. I don't know.
I hope it's easy. I'm kind of scared now. It's been years.
Okay. Who was the last pharaoh of Egypt?
I feel like I'm going to say something wrong. I feel like this is going to be so wrong. Cleopatra?
It's Cleopatra.
Okay, phew.
Good job.
Nice. I know there's a number after that.
Is yeah, it like same, but I didn't know. Okay, we don't have to get specific. Okay, the second one is, I know you went to school in Colorado.
Yes.
So this one is about Colorado. I don't know if this is common knowledge, but what is the highest mountain in Colorado?
I don't know.
Mount Elbert.
Oh, maybe I should have known that. Everybody was always talking about like hiking that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like I don't know, like Mount Everest of Colorado?
I guess. There's like all these hikes there. It's like a 14er is above 14,000 feet. Which when I first moved to Colorado and everybody was always talking, I thought it was like longer than 14 miles. Somebody had to explain that to me, but yeah. That's one of them. Okay, I did not know that. I know nothing about Colorado, which is funny though because I grew up in Colorado. I don't know if I ever told you this. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, well, wait, where? It was only up until I was like 6. Okay, so I don't really count it. In Colorado Springs, which is like right outside of Denver. Yeah. Okay, so the next one, I know you also lived in Utah for a little bit. Yes. So this one's about Utah. Okay. What is Utah's state mammal? Do you have a? Is it, like, big? The mammal? Yeah. I suppose so. I have no idea. Maybe, like, a deer? Is that? Some kind of deer, yeah. Really? I think. Yeah. Wait, what is it? It's the Rocky Mountain elk. Oh. Yeah, I think that sort of counts. That's a half point. Okay. So the next two are really, really fun. Okay. What is Machine Gun Kelly's real name? Wait, no. I thought you were going to ask me. This. Yeah, it's like Colson Smith? No. Smith. I have no idea. Colson Baker. Another half point, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you're going to know this one, but what was, his album Mainstream Sellout? Yeah. What was its original name supposed to be? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know this one. Born with Horns. Oh, that checks out, yeah. It's funny. Well, I only know because, like, he got Born with Horns tatted, him and Travis Barker. Oh, okay. And then, like, he posted on, like, Instagram one day that he FaceTimed Travis and was like, hey, I'm going to change the name of the album. And he was like, what the fuck? We got it tatted on him. Wait, that's actually so funny. Yeah. Anyways, I thought those two were fun just because, I was hoping you were going to ask me about Machine Gun Kelly. I was going to ask you about his hair transplant too, but I was like, yes. The answer is yes. He did have a hair transplant. Allegedly, if his lawyers are watching this, by any chance. If Machine Gun Kelly's lawyers hit you up, like, bro, put me in contact. I feel like you can speak to my lawyer, Allie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, now that the trivia is over, I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, audience. I'm Allie. I am 25. Kind of crazy. Very old.
Oh my God, don't even say that.
Yeah, but I guess I grew up kind of on the, I wouldn't necessarily say West Coast, but like Southwest region of the country. And then moved to New York about a year and a half ago, which is wild. I work in finance. I would say I'm like pretty typical New York girl, but
what does that mean? Just kidding. Actually, we'll get into it later.
yeah. I like reading, writing, try to be pretty active. I like cooking when I don't like need to do it, so maybe I don't like cooking that much anymore, but yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me.
I love it.
Thank you.
All around well-rounded person.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess let's start from the beginning. As someone who was born and raised in LA, in the suburbs of LA her whole life, basically, until I moved here, it's always interesting to me, like, meeting people from, like, other places outside of California. Mm-hmm. And so I know you grew up in Arizona, so I thought we could start there. And I guess, like, what was your experience growing up there?
It was definitely an interesting place to be. I didn't really like it that much when I lived there, which is kind of funny, but I think it was because, like, especially as a kid, like, you can't really get anywhere unless you have a car. And so it's also, like, super hot. There's, like, a lot of positive things about Arizona that I think I didn't, like, I guess, realize while I lived there. Like, the sunsets are amazing, and there's actually really a lot of good food, which isn't like something that maybe you would think of like the first thing, Arizona. But yeah, I think like a lot of my hobbies tended to be a little bit more like inside, like indoors, individual stuff because of the weather partly. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, like I feel like there were a lot of really cool people. There was a lot of diversity, which is really nice, actually. I think that's super important. But yeah, very different than New York for sure.
So would you say different as in like, not like a small town, but like how is it different?
I like one of the big things
biggest differences.
Yeah, probably from New York, definitely the car thing, like the accessibility of just like public transit. I think that like there are cultural differences. There's a lot more of like Southwestern, like Mexican influence in Arizona. Definitely the Mexican food, I think, is probably better in Arizona than here, but I haven't been brave enough to try that many spots here. So
same.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great in California too. I mean, obviously, like the weather, climate. I also think that like people tend to dress and act differently. Like I think in New York, there's a lot more, I don't know, there's almost like competition, not in a bad way per se, but like it's interesting because I think because there's so many like really talented, cool people in like such a small place, it's hard to like stand out, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it's also really hard to avoid like following trends. So like one thing that's really popular here that I've never seen like anywhere else is like designer bags. Like I've never lived somewhere where like obviously, you know, I went to school in Colorado. Like I said, there were brands like, you know, Hydro Flask, got my Hydro Flask, and like Lululemon, all that like athletic wear stuff, but never like designer bags.
Interesting.
So that's something that I've found weird. And like, I never really thought I would be somebody who's like wanted one, but I kind of want one, not gonna lie. So yeah.
Do you want one because everyone else has one, or do you want one because you actually like?
See, that's the thing. I think I want one because everybody else has one, but I don't know. I'm not like at the point in my career yet where I feel like, oh, I can just go buy one for funsies.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's definitely cool bags that aren't designer too, so I'm going to stick with those for now, I think.
No, I definitely agree with you on the whole like it's not competitive here, but it feels like everyone is always like you have to. It's not like competitive, but you have to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like I mean, I can only speak for LA, but I don't feel like LA is like that, at least not where I grew up, which is like in the suburby area. Yeah. It's more like people are okay doing their own thing kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Is there like a stereotype you think that people have about like Arizona or people that live in Arizona?
I think there's definitely like a stereotype for certain places. I mean, for one, like everybody from California moves to like Phoenix for college. Like, I think
is that true?
Like, yeah, there's very much. Well, I don't know how true. It's like I feel like California people move to like Colorado, Arizona, everywhere that I lived, except yeah. But I think like at least in the sense of like the colleges, I think there's a lot of like. I don't know. I don't know how true this is because I didn't go to college there, but like a lot of people talk about like frat boys and sorority girls and like people are pretty basic, which is interesting too. But yeah, I could see it being somewhat true just from the college people that I know. Not to hate on U of A and ASU, but
interesting. What is the what is the Arizona's definition of basic? Because I assume that's probably different for like every state, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's just a lot of like. That's funny, like white girls with their hydro flasks.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's me, actually. But like athletic wear and like just like, people who are like generally somewhat health conscious, like. But yeah, I would say like very much into like the trends. The type of girls who would maybe move to New York and buy designer bags. It's me. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Honestly, I've only been to Arizona once in my life. And that's because like one of my uncles, he is actually a grandpa. Wait, does that make sense? Okay, so he married into my family. And apparently he's like a grandpa. Then like his like grandchildren live in Arizona. And like I went with him to visit once. And I was like, the one and only time I've been to Arizona, to be honest.
Wait, where'd you go?
I wish I could tell you. I was like 10.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think it's pretty different across the state too. Like Tucson and Phoenix, I would say like Phoenix is a much bigger city. I grew up in Tucson. And I feel like there's a little bit more culture, I would say. Like Phoenix is definitely more urban. But then there's like northern Arizona's beautiful. Like the nature is really cool. Like I've never really been that outdoorsy of a person, which is not something I love about myself. But I think that, I definitely should have appreciated it more while I was there. But
totally agree because like in California, I totally took for granted that I was like a 30-minute drive away from like everything, like the beach, the mountains, the desert. And now I'm here, I'm like, I miss looking at trees.
Oh, seriously.
But speaking of nature, it actually brought me back to this memory. When I was on the way to Arizona with my uncle, it was the very first time I ever saw like a million stars in the sky. Because I think we were driving through the desert or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I think that was the first time I ever saw like a starry sky. And I was like, shook.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I wish you could see that here, but
I know. No, I feel like that's something I really like took for granted too. Yeah. Even like nowhere, everywhere has so much light pollution now. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Colorado. So I guess the first question was like, what made you decide to move over there for school? Like, was it solely just school, or like, did you want to get out of Arizona, or like, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was that I did want to get out of Arizona. And I guess I was like looking at several different schools, but when I went to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, and my family and I took like a trip up there to see the campus and everything, and it just was like very, I don't know, like homey, I guess. Fort Collins, I love Fort Collins. It's so cute. Fun fact about Fort Collins, but it was like Walt Disney based downtown Disney off of Fort Collins, Colorado.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, and another place like it has really good food. I'm a huge foodie, so I was definitely here for that. And they had like a good civil engineering program, which was what I studied. But yeah, it was just like, I guess it was like one of those places that I went into and I was like, yeah, I could live here for 4 years.
Aww, love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, random question. Again, not really random, but it's not on my list. As a high schooler, what made you decide that you wanted to get into civil engineering? Because
good question. Yeah. I really wasn't that confident about what I wanted to study. And like, to be fair, I don't work in civil engineering. So when I was a kid, like I've always really enjoyed like being creative. Honestly, I think I was like leaning more towards like liberal arts or some sort of design thing. But then I learned a little bit about urban planning, which I thought would be like really interesting, just kind of like helping to design cities and like future construction. So that was what I was really interested in. But like a lot of those programs specifically are like masters. And so I was thinking about doing architecture or something like that for my undergrad.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think so too. But my both my parents are engineers, and I think they wanted me to have job security. So that was the like path I chose. But and then I guess that also kind of factored into why I picked CSU, is because like they had other options for majors too. Like I was a little bit worried that I would start school and be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, was trying to make sure I accounted for potential major change.
I wish I thought out school as much as you did, because I did actually change my major like 20 times.
Really?
Yeah. I actually took like 6 years to graduate because I couldn't make up my mind about what to do.
No, honestly, I almost changed majors. Like, and yeah, clearly don't work in civil engineering. So,
okay, but speaking of like city planning, I don't know if you heard this or if you know this, but did you know like most of New York is built on trash?
I did hear that on TikTok yesterday.
Wait,
okay, I'm glad it's not just me. I was like, wow, so educated. Yeah, and that's why it's like sinking.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like,
okay,
like the thing is like I'm not surprised given the amount of people and like how much land there really is, but at the same time I'm like, it's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of gross. It's also kind of stressful. I was like, that rain the other day.
Oh my god, with all the floods.
I know. Did you have flooding?
No, it was like fine around here.
Me too, thankfully. But
yeah, but that was crazy in the videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring it because I was like, what the fuck is going on?
No, I was shocked. And then I don't really know where they like put most of the trash from New York, aside from on the streets.
I actually
like goes somewhere.
I actually wonder that every time I see like, because you know it's like trash day like almost every other day, and I'm like, where do they put the trash? Like, where are the landfills? Like, I ask myself that every time I see trash bags. Yeah, and I guess now I know we just build on top of it.
Apparently, yeah. I was at the like 9/11 museum, and I guess they like took a bunch of that trash. I think it was to Staten Island or something, and then like sorted through it there. So I just kind of assumed that was what they did with all of our trash. I don't know if that's right, but yeah, probably not. But it definitely goes somewhere.
Yeah, I was like, interesting. Anyways, New York City is a wild place.
It really is. Nowhere like it.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to school, what was your school experience like? Like, what was college like in Colorado? Because when I think of college, I think of like in the movies, right? It's like parties, frats, sororities. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else. That's pretty much it. Like movies. So like, what was your experience in college?
I feel like I had kind of a boring experience. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I was definitely like a lot more introverted than I am now, which I wouldn't even like claim to be a huge extrovert now, but I made like some pretty good friends my freshman year, which was like nice, and I'm still friends with, I guess, pretty much all of them, which is really cool. But I think as like time went on and I had more experiences, I met more people. I got pretty involved in a couple different like clubs on campus. Was pretty active in, we had like a service fraternity. So I joined that. And then I also was in Engineers Without Borders, which was cool.
Is it like Doctors Without Borders?
Yeah, just the engineering version.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was. I think like there's like a lot of potential to be impactful there. I like was the president. This is like, I don't want to like brag. Yeah, I know. I feel like honestly, I think I could have been a better president than I was, which I guess hindsight's 2020 or whatever. But I do think that like, you know, it's a really cool organization. It's super important to like give back to your community. That's something that I really want to start doing in New York. But overall college experience, like I was very busy all the time. I worked in the dining hall for a little bit, which I hated.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was like the most embarrassing thing too. Oh my goodness. It's actually embarrassing now. It's actually really funny because I needed a job because I wanted more money, obviously. And so I was like, this is so embarrassing. Nobody can know I work here. So I like picked two of the shifts that I thought like I wouldn't see anyone at. So I cut fruit on Saturday mornings, like at 6:30 Saturday morning. I was chopping like random fruit for the fruit bar. One time I cut 29 pineapples. I still am like impressed by that. And the second one was like dishes on Wednesday night, and that was horrible.
That sounds
so bad. Like
so bad. You're like literally washing everyone's dishes.
It was disgusting. I hated it. And it was like, you were like kind of burning yourself with the dishwater too. Like, after I started that, I was like, I can never do this again. Like, thank God. Low-key, I kind of had a crush on one of my coworkers. That was the only reason that shift was terrible, but like, it was so bad. Yeah, so I like worked there. I worked in, I like got a job at the finance and real estate department, which was kind of what got me into finance, which is kind of what I do now. But yeah, I feel like in college, I had a really good group of friends. Most of them are still in Colorado, but always love like seeing them or when they come to visit me. Yeah, it was good. You know, I had a couple internships too, which was nice. And yeah, I don't know. I think it was weird too at the end because it was COVID. Yeah, so I stayed in Colorado like through, I guess, I graduated in 2020. So like my last semester was a little weird, but I still stayed there with, I was living with like two of my really close friends. And we all kind of stayed in our house and like, it was fun, actually.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of miss it sometimes in a weird way, but
it's like one of those like times were easier back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like, oh, you know, just do an online class. Like, we usually went like for walks around our neighborhood and like all this dumb stuff. We used to do game nights.
Love that.
And we would always drink on Monday nights.
Monday.
Yeah. That was not our wisest choice, but we made it through.
Okay, well, sorry, going back to cutting pineapples.
Yes.
Can you explain to us how to cut a pineapple? Because I always want to buy like, okay, so I always buy like the pre-cut ones because I don't know how to cut a pineapple.
The pre-cut ones? That's so funny.
I don't know how to cut a pineapple, so can you explain to me and everyone here how to cut a pineapple?
I can. So the way that they taught me to do it is like you chop off the top and the bottom. I know you can like rip out the stem, but I'm not strong enough for that. I'm like, maybe you go to the gym more than me, so maybe you can. But like you chop off the top and the bottom, and then you like kind of take off the skin. And then what you do is like you should cut it in half because there's like it's like a, I don't know what it's called, but like a spine sort of thing in the middle that's like not that good for eating. And then you have two like half circle long, I don't know what the name of that shape is, but like from there, usually I would cut like sort of like a triangle shape. Or I would cut like a triangle shape with the hard part out, and then from there I would just like cut it into cubes.
Okay, so I know like sometimes when you skin the pineapple, there's like the parts,
the brown parts.
Yeah, like the little spots.
That annoys me.
So do you just like manually like cut out every single one?
To be honest, I'm not that diligent, but like I try to cut. If it's like a lot of brown stuff, I'll cut it out. But if it's not, I'm like, I'll probably not die if I eat this.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try this next time I go grocery
shopping. You should. Wait, let me know.
Okay, yeah, because I'm always buying the pre-cut ones. I'm like, this shit is so fucking expensive, but I can't help it.
I'm actually, that's so funny, but I don't blame you. I made my cousin cut a pineapple when she was coming to visit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was really nice of her, actually.
That's so funny. That's like the one thing I probably would not put anyone through because it looks terrifying to
cut a pineapple. Goodness. One time in college, I wanted to make carrot ginger soup, which turned out really good, but you have to grate like so many carrots. I literally made my friend do it. Oh my god. I was like, I like cooking when other people do the hard parts. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But the soup was good. I don't know if it's worth the work. Manual labor, but I wouldn't know. So
maybe one day we'll both try doing the hard work.
Yeah, imagine that.
Okay, I feel like I had another question about college, but I can't remember it right now. But
that's okay
if I come back to it. Okay, so after college, I guess like when did you move to Utah? So you said you graduated in 2020, and then what's the timeline after that?
So I graduated in May, and then I went home for like 2 months, back to Arizona and stayed with my family. And then I went to Colorado. I think I moved in on the 4th of July.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so then I was there for about a year and a half. I think I moved to New York in February 2022.
Yeah. I was
like, what year is it? Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I guess I know you moved to Utah for work, but like, why? Because like, no offense to people that live in Utah, but like, what's there to do there?
Actually, I would say like, I don't know. Like Salt Lake City is definitely weird, but like, it's kind of cool. Like, I think again, it's like one of those places where you live and you're like, do I really want to live here? But then, like, once you leave, you're like, okay, that was, like, not that bad.
Okay.
But, like, there's, again, it's, like, a huge nature place. I would almost, like, say Salt Lake City is, like, the discount Denver.
The discount Denver.
Like, actually, there's a lot of very similar to, like, Colorado things in Utah. So, like, there's really good skiing, there's really good snowboarding. I wish I was capable of doing either of those things, but, like, the hiking's great. The mountains are just beautiful. Like, I remember my office building, we used to just have, like, the prettiest view of the mountains. It's overall, like, pretty clean, pretty safe. The food is not good. That was the one thing. I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is the most important thing to me, not here.
That's hilarious.
But, like, the people overall are pretty nice. I mean, there's definitely a lot of, like, Mormon LDS influence. But it's, like, another cultural experience you can have, you know? Yeah, but I would say, like, the main thing to do there is probably, like, go to the mountains. And, like, that's the nice thing about Salt Lake City as opposed to, like, Denver is it's really, like, a 30-minute drive to the mountains versus Denver, it's probably, like, an hour.
So, question. As someone who, you said that you're not very much a nature girl, why did you move to all these nature places?
I ask myself that too. I think maybe I just want to be, and then I am not.
You don't think, like, moving there has changed you to be somewhat more nature?
Yeah, I think so. I think I appreciate it, like, more. I used to hate hiking, like, so much when I was like, a kid. Well, actually, I don't really know what happened. When I was, like, a little kid, I used to, like, love hiking and outdoor stuff. And then I got stung by a bunch of, like, wasps.
Oh, no. Oh, God, that's
when I was, like,
scary.
in first grade. I had to go to the hospital. I'm pretty sure I was just being dramatic, and I didn't actually need to go to the hospital, but I went to the hospital.
I mean, I would be dramatic, too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my goodness. So I think I'm, like, low-key pretty sure that's what caused my hatred of the outdoors, but just kidding. I don't hate it. Just a little bit.
Just traumatized.
Yeah. And then I would, like, occasionally, my friends in high school are all very, like, outdoorsy people, which is, like, it's something that I am not envious of, but, like, I appreciate, I guess. But sometimes we would go hiking, and I was also not a very in shape child. So I was, like, always the last person.
Oh,
like,
no.
and they were very much having to wait for me on these hikes. And I was like, this is just, like, torturous for me. But I think, like, in college, I got to the point where it's like, okay, I'll, like, do my semi-annual hike, you know, and it won't be terrible.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I like hiking on occasion. I wouldn't do it every weekend, but so definitely changed a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you like it better now, because we're gonna go on a hike when we go to LA.
Yes, I think I can handle that. Hopefully, I'm not as bad at hiking anymore.
Don't worry, that one's kind of easy.
Phew. Just kidding. No, I occasionally work out, so that's good.
Okay, so going back to you being a foodie, you said that Colorado and Arizona had amazing food except for Utah. What is your definition of, like, having good food? Like, is it, like, the diversity, or is it, like, quality, or is it, like, what is your definition of good food?
I mean, a huge part of it is the diversity and, like, the availability of, like, food. But the second thing is, I feel like everything in Utah was just, like, kind of bland. Like, I don't know if that was me. It's like use some spices, guys. I don't know. There were 2 restaurants in Salt Lake City that I tried, and I was like, this is pretty good. One of them closed while I was still there.
Oh, no.
I was still mad about that. It was this really good, like, noodle spot. But yeah, it's just, like, it was all very, like, basic and not super flavorful. Like, I think in Utah, there's definitely, like, also kind of a focus on, like, being healthy and, like, eating well and things like that. But just didn't translate into, like, good food somehow. Yeah. Like, I don't know. There was this one place. So one thing that I actually really liked about my job while I was there is because it was, like, during COVID, we would get free lunch. But because we were in, like, a satellite office, I guess we didn't have a cafeteria on campus. You could, like, order $20 worth of, like, Grubhub or whatever. Yeah. So that was really nice because I got to try a lot of places. But again, nothing was, like, that good. But there was, like, this one like healthy spot that I used to go to that had like juices. It just like didn't taste that good. It was like, I remember I'm like the sort of girl who will drink like a green juice for the aesthetic and hate it. So like that was me like all the time.
Oh my
in
God,
Utah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, if I'm gonna get like a green juice, I want it to at least like not make me gag a little bit. But
that's hilarious. So do you feel like because the food there was more like health conscious? I don't know if that's the right word for it, but do you think that made it, because I know you're like vegetarian.
Yeah.
Were you vegetarian? Yeah, you were vegetarian back then. Was it easier to be like vegetarian there as opposed to like?
No, I mean, I would say like most of the places that I've lived, it's been like relatively not that hard. I guess I was a vegetarian for like a long time, like 6 or 7 years. And then I recently started eating fish. But I would say the only places that I've been to where I've had like any sort of actual issues was like visiting people in Florida. Like sometimes we would go to restaurants and I would be like, it's funny because like I see on the internet when people are like, this was the vegan option or whatever, and it's like lettuce.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, some of the places I was like, come on guys, like you can do better than this. But like, yeah, Utah wasn't really an issue, and kind of same for Colorado, Arizona. I feel like most of those places, there's like typically not like, I mean, there's, you know, some diversity in food, but I would say there's a lot of like healthier spots as well.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that. So it's like a little bit, it's like kind of diverse.
Yeah. Utah, not so much.
Yeah. So someone needs to go back there and change it.
Honestly, I'm just waiting. Like, there's a lot of untapped potential there in the food market.
Okay, so I'm excited for this question.
Okay.
So you said there was a lot of I forgot the word that you used, but basically, like, I know, like, Mormonism, is that the word?
Like Latter-day Saints.
Yeah. It's, like, really big in Utah. So what was dating like in in an area like that?
Funny you ask. It was not the best for me, but it was definitely weird. It was different. A lot of people my age, and I was like 21 when I first moved there. I was like 21, 22. A lot of people were married. So that was weird, first of all. Yeah. And like, I think that like Utah versus here, like people were a lot more looking to like settle down in a relationship, which is like, that can be a good thing depending on what you're looking for. Definitely just weird though. Like I did not have any success, I'll say. I went out with this guy one time. This is probably my wildest Utah dating story.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear this.
I went out with this guy who we had a pretty good date. Like he took me to this place called Lake Effect. It's like a pretty cool, I guess if you're ever in Salt Lake City, it's like Post Malone hangs out there sometimes. I never saw him. I'm still mad, but it's like a bar and usually they have live music and stuff. And like we had this like pretty good date, and I don't know what happened afterwards, but like, actually here, I didn't properly tell the lead up to this. So we were getting ready for this date. I of course look him up online. I find wedding photos.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was like, are you married? Like I feel like I went about this the wrong way, but I was like, are you married? Like, what is this? And he's like, if he had phrased anything like even slightly differently, I think I wouldn't have gone out with him. But he was like, yeah, you know, I just kind of recently like went through a divorce, and he basically had said that he was like leaving the church. And I was like, he basically was like, you know, I understand if you don't want to go out with me, but I was like, you know, maybe it'll be okay.
Oh my God.
I don't know why I agreed to this, but yeah, so I went out with him. Like I said, fun date. Like we even talked about it like on the date where he was like, yeah, you know, it just wasn't like working out, whatever. But then like he kind of stopped, like, I don't know. I guess he probably didn't feel similarly about me, but like definitely communication sort of dropped off after that. And then I like, of course, you know, got really nosy. I'm pretty sure he was still married. Like no divorce had happened. So yeah, I found that out. That was fun. And then like randomly several months later, that was the other thing about Salt Lake City. It was such a small town. Like, you run into people all the time. Saw him. He looked like he had, like, seen a ghost or something. I was like, I actually still think about this. Like, I was walking by, he was, like, eating food at some, like, counter seat by a window, and, like, we made direct eye contact.
Oh my God,
just,
that's
like,
so
terrified. And I was like, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to hit up your wife. Like, that ship has sailed, but, you know, hopefully his marriage is, I don't know. I hope the best for his wife is all I have to say.
That's crazy. You would think, like, actually, no. I was gonna say, like, you would think, like, people would be cheating less, but I think, like, when you're like, when you grow up in a place where, like, you're like, it's common to marry early, you don't really know what you want. So I would assume cheating is actually, there's a higher rate of cheating there.
There's a lot of, like, swingers in Utah too. It's kind of wild. There's, like, a whole scandal about these, like, Utah mom influencers, and all of them were, like, swingers, apparently.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why I know this, but yeah, it's, like, there's also, like, a very big, like, influencing, like, scene in Salt Lake City, and also it's, like, one of the plastic surgery capitals of, like, the US.
I read that when I was Googling trivia questions.
It's, like, wild, right?
It was like, I think the headline was, like, Utah has, like, the most, like, plastic surgeons in the US, and I was like, what?
It's kind of, like, it doesn't really check out, but, like, it does, I guess. There's definitely, like, again, I feel like a lot of, like, certain undertones, and, like, people are pretty image conscious, and, like, I don't know, some sort of, like, competition almost. It's weird, but yeah, that's Utah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it really is. I kind of forget about that sometimes.
I'm always like shocked every time I remember that you used to live there, because I'm like, Utah. That's like saying that I went to, like, Wisconsin or something. Like, no offense, but, like,
that's actually really funny. Yeah.
So I had another question about, like, dating. I don't know if this ever came up for you, but I wondered if, like, religion was ever, like, a topic that you always had to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, people always were like, yeah, you would usually, like, bring it up, at least to kind of check out if you're on the same page. It's funny because now, even when I tell people I, like, lived in Utah, they're like, oh, are you Mormon? No, like, I'm not. I feel like I kind of look like I could be, maybe, but no.
That's wild.
In case anyone was wondering.
I still cannot believe you lived in Utah. That's mind-blowing to me.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely something. Yeah. It kind of feels fake now that I'm not there.
It's like another lifetime, right?
It really is. It really is.
Even though it was only, like, a year and a half ago, which is also kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wow. It doesn't even feel like I live here sometimes.
Same. Sometimes I'm like, sometimes I actually, like, I don't know if you see those, like, TikToks where, like, New York is a simulation. Sometimes I do feel like New York is a simulation, because there's, like, no way the shit that is happening here is actually happening.
I know.
What?
Yeah. Such a weird place.
Yeah. Okay, so continuing on about dating, and you here being in New York, I guess, okay, I want to know.
I'm afraid.
Don't worry. I won't ask anything too juicy.
Okay.
Okay, let's start off with something, okay, a little bit more tame.
Okay.
Okay, what would you say, like, the difference in dating culture is between here and, like, Utah and Arizona and Colorado?
Yeah, I guess kind of the main thing, which I think I touched on a little bit earlier, is that, like, people aren't looking so much for commitment.
Yeah.
I think it can be hard to find, like, people who are on the same page as you, like, depending on what you're looking for. It's also, like, because there are so many people here, and I think because a lot of people are, like, somewhat successful in, like, whatever aspect of their life. Like, some people have really cool jobs, some people are just, like, cool, I don't know. Some people are both of those, but I don't know that many. Just kidding. Love all my friends. Yeah, but, like, I think it's hard to, like, and I think this is also why people are less serious about, like, dating one person, because there's, like, so many options. I feel like I've seen, like, studies about this, probably on TikTok, where it's like you have so many options that it's like, why, like, settle with this one person when you think that you can, like, find a better option, I guess. But it's kind of depressing, like, in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I when I moved here, I was like very optimistic about like, oh, I'm gonna like, you know, meet the love of my life and everything. And then I got here and I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's here. Like, I think there are a lot of really cool people out there, but I think it's like a time and place thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not convinced that I'll meet the love of my life in New York City, but there's lots of cool people to meet, I guess. So.
Yeah, same. Actually, like before I moved here, I like joked around with like one of my friends. I was like, I'm gonna be like strolling Central Park one day and like see the love of my life. Girl, I'm literally never in Central Park. I fucking hate traveling over there.
Oh, seriously, no, that's so true. I'm like, where is it? I don't even like see that many cute guys, and they're all short. This is my issue. I'm 5'8" and like all so guys are short. That's what I'm learning. We love a short king, but I feel like I would have to meet one in real life to fall in love, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I feel like it's hard to like, I don't know, I don't go out that much, so like maybe that's part of my issue, or I'm shy and awkward. And
I don't think so.
Sometimes on the right day, but yeah, I don't know. It's like hard to meet people to date in like whatever sense you're looking for. I think.
It's interesting because I feel like in general it's really easy to meet people, but like to meet people to date is like for some reason so much freaking harder. Like I'm like,
I would agree. Sometimes I'm like, are my standards too high? I don't think they are.
I feel like our standards are like the basic like be a nice person.
Yeah.
Be like 4 inches taller
Honestly,
than
my
me.
standards probably aren't high enough.
Dang. Okay, well, that brings me to our next question. What is the best date you've ever been on?
The best date I've ever been on.
Here in New York City.
That's funny. I would say it's sorry. That's like the bar. No, I'm like the bar's so low. I would say like I think a lot of it like it's more about the person than like the actual act.
What do you mean?
Elaborate. Like I think what really makes a good date is like a good connection. And therefore it's like less important what you're actually doing.
True.
Like the amount of fun you're having. I would say like best like date activity probably that like I thought this was fun, but also this sometimes I'm like, would I do this on a date? I think it could go very wrong or very well. It's like comedy clubs. Like I love a good comedy club, but I also feel like it's super awkward if you're laughing at all the jokes and they're not. So thankfully that wasn't the case. But like, I feel like, you know, any good date has like a lot of good conversation or whatever. So yeah, probably like my best date was with like this guy that I like dated for a little while, and I just like, you know, liked him the best out of the previous options. So that was good, but yeah, we just like grabbed dinner after work, and it was like relatively low key. So
I love when like dates are low key. Like I hate.
Yeah, sometimes it's too much.
Yeah, like actually like a lot of like my dates here, like the guy will like suggest a restaurant that's like really nice or something like, and I'm like, that's like so sweet of you.
Yeah,
but, like literally just like get me a burger.
It's honestly stressful. I mean, like sometimes, like I think I'm at the point too where it's like it's just so much time to commit to like one person if you're gonna like go do dinner or whatever. Like it's so much easier to just like get coffee, or I don't know. I'm more of a like coffee first date girl than drinks first date girl, because I feel like drunk Allie has questionable taste at times. But like it can be easy. Like you can, and if you're having fun on the coffee date, like why not go to the park? Why not go to a comedy club? Like the comedy club date that I was talking about before that we went on, like we started at brunch, and then it was like a full day like excursion. So it was like fun.
Yeah, you know? That sounds fun. I went on a date like that too. It was like we literally just started off at brunch, and then like literally 12 hours later, the date was over. I was like, 12-hour date. Who knew?
Crazy. Yeah, it's like sometimes it just happens like that. Yeah,
but I guess like for me personally, it's been hard to find something like that here in New York, because it's just like I don't know. Something about New York is just like, once you step out of the house, like, you're tired. Like, I'm tired just stepping out of the house.
Oh, me too. And I feel like I get, like, cranky all the time.
Oh, no, yeah.
Like, am I an angry person? Is it the city?
I think it's a city.
Yeah. My friend told me I got, like, nicer out of college, though. One of my friends. I guess I used to be really mean.
Oh, that's so funny, because people used to say I used to be really mean, too. Like, I think it was, like, my, like, first, like, few years in college. People, like, I remember, like, specifically this comment that this guy made. Mm-hmm. He was, like, he said this to my friend, which I don't know why he would do that, because then my friend told me. Yeah. But basically, he was like, yeah, I totally go for her, but she's like, way too mean. And I'm like, what? He's like, first of all, I would never date you. Like, relax. But second, like, what?
That's wild. Wait, actually, one thing, I think I'm, like, mean to guys that I like. Like, that's I don't know. I don't like it when guys are, like, too nice to me. It's probably, like,
do you think
personal issues.
No, but do you think that that comes from, like, okay, I don't know about you, but when I was, like, younger, growing up, like, people will always be like, if a guy is mean to you, that means he likes you, right? Do you think that's, like, subconsciously
interesting?
And that's why we like the bad boys, or, like,
I think I've never actually thought about that. I've, like, thought about it because I'm like, why am I like this? And what I had, like, come up with was, I feel like my family, like, teased each other a lot when I was growing up. But I do think there's definitely, like, an aspect of that probably too. Yeah. Which is
interesting, right? Yeah. It's so interesting to think about, like, how we view relationships and, like, dating now. Yeah. So, on the flip side, worst date you've ever been on, and I want the details.
Oh, no. Ever?
Here in New York.
Here in New York. Ugh, I was, like, actually thinking about this earlier today, because I was like, I feel like Christina's going to ask me about
how do you know me so
well? The worst date that I've ever been on in New York. And I was like, I feel like, weirdly, I haven't, like, dated that much here, just because I've given up hope.
Didn't you just go on, like, 3 days in the span of, like, a week?
Yeah. Okay, I think I've been on a lot of, like, average dates. Okay. But I would say probably the worst one, can I talk about the worst one that I went on in Utah?
Okay, fine.
Sorry. I know, I'm being boring. I, like, went to dinner with this guy, and he didn't ask me a single question about myself. Like, have you ever, like, it was the worst conversation of my life. I was like, it would be like, oh, so do you have any siblings? And he would be like, yeah, I have a brother. And he would just stop. Like, he wouldn't, like, literally nothing I said. He would be like, what about you? Like, never. And he was flirting with a waitress.
Oh my God.
And then he was like, he drove me, which, again, mistake. I was like, I should have just driven myself, but whatever. So he drove me home, but then he, like, tried to kiss me, and I was like, what? I was like, does it seem like I'm enjoying this date? Like, I'm really, really not.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Or I feel like I've just gone on a lot of dates where it's like, you get there and you're like, yeah, this isn't like gonna work. And it's not always because the person's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're not. It's like they're not attractive to you. Yeah. They're not like a bad person. But, like, I don't know. Sometimes there's, like, the dumbest things where all of a sudden I'm like,
ooh. Okay, wait.
I know what yours is, but
please. He's probably watching this.
Oh no. Yeah, I was like, I gotta be careful. Probably, like, I don't know. It's like there was this one guy who, like, his voice, I was just like,
voices are very important thing.
Voices are very important. It's like, I think you get used to how somebody sounds after a while, but, like, I wasn't into it. I was like, yeah, no.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what's the worst date you've been on in
worst
New York?
Date I've been on in New York? I think because I'm so picky, I haven't gone on, like, a really bad date.
See, that's good.
I think, I think that's, like, the plus side of me being really picky. Yeah. Like, I don't think I've ever been on a bad date, like, ever.
Ever?
Yeah. Except for, like, the very first day I went on after, like, I broke up with my, that was, like, the worst thing, because one, I didn't even want to go, but I didn't.
I do that too.
Yeah, like, I didn't want to say no, because he was, like, friends with all my friends, so I was like, that would be awkward. I guess now it's even more awkward because it didn't work out. But
that's actually so funny.
Yeah. But that's kind of like when I started saying, that's when it made me realize, like, if I don't want to go on a date, I'm just not going to go, because
that's like, you shouldn't.
Yeah, so I think that's why I'm, like, super picky about my dates now, and, like, I only go if I really, really want to go. And so, like, on the very few dates I have been on, like, I can honestly say that, like, these guys are like so gentlemanly and like they are like really thoughtful and like in their dates, they're just like not for me.
Yeah. That's nice though. I mean, like, it's still disappointing when it doesn't work, but I don't know. I think I also have this, like, this isn't good. I have like a bias against dating, like meeting people on dating apps, even though that's like a very valid, like very normal way to meet like your partner.
Yeah.
I just like, something about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't trust dating app men. I don't know what my problem is though with that. I'm like I would much prefer to meet somebody in real life.
I mean, I feel like that's like normal though, because I feel like
that's fair.
I guess like growing up, at least for me, it was just like weird to like even be meeting someone like online. You know, so now that like dating apps are a thing, it's just like I think I still have that like mentality from before. Like it's like I also do have that bias, and I think like one of the things is that like it just feels like people online are just meeting just to like hook up, which is not something I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I like instantly, like if I meet you online, I'm like, this guy just wants to hook up, which is already really bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so yeah, I think it's just a combination of like a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a tough world out here.
God, I know. Okay, Nick, my next question is, what are your biggest I was debating between red flags or icks.
I want to say icks.
Yeah, I want to hear the icks.
Probably. Well, again, kind of like voice is a big one. Oh, this is interesting. I'm like, I don't like it when guys like dress weird.
What is your definition of dressing weird?
Like, I don't like it when they dress like old, you know, or like overly like.
Wait, am I thinking about the same person?
Maybe like very like preppy.
Yeah.
Like middle-aged man vibes. That's not it for me. Or like, I don't know, if they just like can't joke with me. Like, I guess it's kind of the thing about like wanting a guy to be like mean, but I don't mean mean. I just mean like
teasing.
Yeah, exactly. Also, like when guys get really, I would say this is a red flag more than like an ick, but like when they're just like angry.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's a
I'm like, or if they like don't show their emotions normally, like I don't think it's that hard to like express yourself. Although I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not a guy, but like I think it's important for men to like express their emotions in a healthy way. Not be unnecessarily angry. Also, okay, here's something that I'm like, this is a red flag that I ignored. If you are like super a picky eater. Oh. I hate that. I'm like, like this isn't like second grade. Like,
you're like,
oh my God. Yeah. No, it's like be an adventurous eater. Like at least try it. Yeah. Like, I don't know. That's a dumb one, but it's kind of funny.
I think that's super important because I think that also like it says a lot about like you as a person as well. Because if you're not like open to even just like trying food, like how do I know you're gonna be open to like, I don't know, like other things, right? Like, are you just gonna be like a boring person? Like, or I don't know.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about like the TikToks that I've seen that are like icks though too. Like, have you seen the no-show socks like on guys?
Yes, that's hilarious.
Wait, did you see the one that was like it was this lady filming her husband and he was chewing with a hat on and the hat from was moving?
I was like, wait. All of a sudden I have that ick too.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. So no eating while wearing hats.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, just
oh my God.
Dumb stuff.
No, I love it. The dumber, the better.
Honestly, yeah. I'll like check in with you. I'm sure I have plenty of icks. Small hands.
Oh my God, please. That's like,
oh, I don't like it. This isn't an ick either. This is just a personal preference. But I feel like when a guy like weighs less than me or like looks like they could weigh less than me, I'm like,
I feel like
that just makes me insecure though. So that's like,
no, but I think I hear that from like everyone that I talk to, like, except for probably like really, really small people. But like everyone that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I want my guy to be like thicker, heavier than me. Surprisingly for me, that's not the case for me.
Really?
Yeah. I'm very much into like tall, lean.
Yeah,
like,
but
Christina
like
Kelly kind of a, well, like, not that skinny, but like Like, I'm definitely into, like, the leaner.
No, I like that too, but I also, like, they have to be significantly taller than me in that. Really? They couldn't be, like,
well, you're also really tall, though. So.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, I feel like most of the time, like, if you're taller than, like, 6... I mean, I would hope, like, 6'3", you will weigh more than me. I have no idea. But, yeah. Yeah, because I don't like guys who are, like, too muscular, too.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I just like think about all our icks.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm like, when guys are too veiny.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Oh yeah. I don't understand like why guys think that like they have to get like super, super ripped and like attract a girl. No. I think that is so disgusting.
Yeah. Sometimes it's too much. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, if you look like you could be taking steroids.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, just look natural.
Exactly. Even if you are taking steroids.
I know.
Just kidding.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my last question about dating.
Okay.
What is your ideal date?
My ideal date. Well, again, ideal first date is probably coffee. But ideal like date with somebody that I actually like, since it's fall, I guess, I feel like I keep seeing, this is me and my TikTok addiction problem, but like I keep seeing all these girls go on like cute fall dates, but I think it would be like super fun to do like pumpkin spice latte, like Starbucks, and then go to like an apple orchard or something. Yeah. Like some sort of, I feel like it's good to like start with like a drink / walk thing. So like coffee or Starbucks is coffee, but like smoothies or like go to a farmer's market, something like that. And like active, but not too hiking. Yeah. Just kidding. That's just me. I'm sure lots of people would like hiking. And then like, I don't know, maybe like go do dinner or something somewhere fun and then like watch a movie and cuddle and stuff. Yeah. That's a nice date. Yeah, I feel like cozy vibes is what I'm into right now.
I love that.
Yeah. So, just need to find the boy.
Good luck with that. Let me know when you find one. Where you find him.
Don't hold your breath. Oof, yeah. Hopefully no guys that I'm dating will watch this.
Yikes. When you were mentioning your ideal date, you did say it was fall. Yes. So, I wanted to ask you.
Wait, what? I'm so excited. Assuming I know where this is going.
I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Do you have a fall bucket list?
I do. Well, I've been like conceptualizing it. I did this with my summer bucket list. This is like a thing that I've started doing because I'm trying to be like more intentional with how I'm spending my time and like, I don't know. There was like a period of time where I was like, I just want to do this. And then I would never like actually do any of the things that I wanted to do. So I made a summer bucket list, but now it's fall. So it's time for the fall bucket list.
Sorry to cut you off, but let's take a step back and go back to your summer bucket list.
Okay.
What was on your summer bucket list?
Yeah. There were a lot of like random things on my summer bucket list. I had like go to a concert. What else did I bake cookies? Like just some of this stuff was kind of dumb. I wanted to do like the Roosevelt Island tramway. I had to do a pasta making class. Unfortunately, have not checked that one off, so it's transferred to the fall bucket list. The craziest one, which I think you know, was go skinny dipping.
Oh my god, that was so fun.
So Christina and I checked that one off the bucket list together.
That was so fun, actually.
That was
fun.
Like,
for me, at least, that was like kicking off my summer bucket list, and wow, fun.
Yeah, honestly, it's just like about doing things that like maybe are a little bit out of your comfort zone, but are something like you want to do, like a fun story.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question. Like, what was your intentions behind like your summer bucket list? Like, what were you like looking to accomplish? Like, was it like an internal thing or like externally you just wanted to do these things?
I think it was more of like kind of shifting my mindset about like almost setting goals like that. I guess at the beginning of the year, well, everybody makes like New Year's resolutions and then like how often do you actually do them, right? But one of the things that I've been trying to be better about is like exploring the city and kind of like pushing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. And then actually like, taking the first step and like doing things that I want to do. And so that was like kind of the goal with the bucket list, is to just like get a few random things written down that would be like, I fucking hate New York. Yeah. Things that are just like, I wanted to do them. And so maybe now's the time. And I feel like it really kind of pushed me to be a little bit more active, and like, especially on weekends where maybe I didn't have plans or I was like not super busy, had an idea, had a place to start. I like used to do that when I was a kid somewhat. Yeah. Like my sister and I wrote this list of like 100 things to do when you're bored. I think my mom still has that on
my God, that's so cute.
fridge. Yeah. So I'll check. Maybe I need to add some of those to my fall bucket list. But yeah, it was good, I think. I think like the one thing, I've been trying to get my friends to do it too. I'm like being pushy, but I think it's fun. I think a lot of people are like, oh, like what if I don't do all the things, or like there's a certain like level of pressure about like, oh, I wrote this down and therefore I want to like complete it. And that was something too for me where I was like, damn, like I probably did like half, probably like 60% of the things on my summer bucket list.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm still pretty happy with that. Like I feel like that's a lot more than I would have done had I not written it down, and I just like continued to be like, oh, I should do this, and then
like not do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the plan, is like motivate myself a little bit more.
That's how I felt too. Yeah. I was like, actually, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever told you this, and I don't know if I'm gonna cut this out of the pod or not. But actually, like before like summer started, I was like, I had like crazy seasonal depression, like actual like up until like basically like April, which is wild because that's a long time.
That's a long time.
So like my summer bucket list was kind of like a way to like get me out of that funk.
Yeah.
And like just to get myself to like go out more. And yeah, I think it was really successful. It was pretty fun.
I think so
I feel
too.
like summer was really fun.
I think so too. Yeah, because I think part of it for me too was like I was in this whole rut because I was dating this guy, and then I was just not over him for a ridiculous amount of time. But yeah, it really helped. Like, even though it was like kind of dumb, I thought it was so fun.
Yeah, I feel like the dumbest stuff was the most fun though.
Exactly. I was like, this is so like pointless, but it's great.
Yeah.
I think that's like one thing that I'm trying to be better about overall with my life, is just like enjoy like the silly little things that I want to do. Like, it's okay if I like, I don't know, like one of this I keep again seeing TikToks that are like, oh, romanticize your life and stuff, and like honestly those people kind of have it right. Like, I have this stupid little wooden spoon that I got from Muji that I still love. I'm like, every time I eat with this, I'm like, this is great. But like, that's so cute. It's like stuff like that. It's like and the summer bucket list is kind of the same. Like,
no, I think so too, because like I think before that, I think I was like, why seasonal depression hit me so hard was because there was so much pressure for me to like, I don't even know what the pressure was for, because it's probably like because it's like I had this like I guess like this vision of like when I moved here, like life would be so
perfect.
And like it wasn't. So then like then like fucking winter hit, and I was like, fuck, this is so bad. And then so I was like, I'm gonna like spend the summer like living just like day by day, right? And like not having too much pressure on like anything that I do. And yeah, it was fun. And I think it's kind of like transferred over now that's fall. So I'm excited, even though I haven't made my fall bucket list yet.
So I just started like actually writing mine down this morning.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'm excited too. I was like, so the one thing about my summer bucket list, I rewrote it like 3 times. I bought gel pens. First I wrote it, and then I was like, this isn't cute enough, so I'll write it again. And then I was like, well, I want gel pens for the 3rd time. So now I have gel pens if you ever want to come over and write your summer bucket list or fall bucket list now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started putting them in my phone, and then I will transfer it to my gel pen paper situation. Yeah. So, yeah.
What was your the favorite thing that you crossed off in the summer?
Probably, actually, I had a lot of fun when we went to Coney Island.
Dude, it was so fun. I'm telling you, like everyone that didn't want to go, I was like,
I know, honestly, they missed out. Low-key, I didn't want to go, but it was so fun. We went for our birthday, and it was a very successful trip.
I think it was just like one of those days where like you don't have to like I didn't worry about like I don't know like adult stuff.
Yeah,
not saying that like I really truly worry about
adult
that now.
Stuff sucks.
But it was just like a day where it was just like carefree and like just going on rides.
Yeah,
and it was just like so fun.
It was. It was just like nice. And I don't know, everybody loves a good like roller coasters. Did we go on any roller coasters? No.
I don't think so.
But everyone loves a good Ferris wheel.
Yeah. And the merry-go-round, that was fun.
Yeah.
Or
that was
carousel?
super fun.
Carousel?
Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah, okay.
Low-key, I'm still afraid from that haunted house ride. Okay, I'm actually really afraid. We're going to Fright Fest.
Horror Night.
Horror
It'll
Night.
be fun. Don't worry.
I'm a chicken, but we'll make it. But maybe I'm going to put that on my fall bucket list because it's something that I already know we'll cross off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I think my favorite was skinny dipping.
That was honestly
so
up there. That was just wild.
Yeah.
In the ocean, too.
I know. That's crazy. I just don't think, like, that's something I've always wanted to do for some reason.
Yeah.
And then, like, I just never thought I would do it. And then we just happened to be by the ocean.
Yeah. I was, like, shocked at us for crossing that one off so quickly, too.
I
It was, like, a week after I realized
same.
the first one, not the gel pen version. Yeah.
Okay, so moving into fall, is there anything that you want to share that you put down in your fall bucket list?
I might have to get out my notes app, but I definitely moved over like the pasta making class one. I want to do I wanted to do this last year and I never did it, so now it's on my fall bucket list for this year. But I want to make like chili because I feel like I'm like pretty good at making chili. Like
I love chili.
So, yeah, and I have a bunch of people over thinking to do that. I want to get pumpkin spice espresso martinis.
Ooh, from the Starbucks Reserve.
Yeah.
Oh, can we go?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely should. What else? Here, gonna look.
Go for it.
You can play the what is it? The Jeopardy music. Is it Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Oh, here's one that I want to do. I want to walk from like the top of Manhattan to Fide.
Okay, you're crazy.
Low-key, I might try and do that next weekend.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I want to finish a knitting project. I have dress up for Halloween because I will do that anyways.
Yeah.
I love dressing up. And I moved also make a TikTok, which was also on my summer bucket list and I didn't do.
I can't wait to see your first TikTok.
We'll see. Otherwise, it's going on the winter bucket list.
Oh my God.
One of the things that was on my summer bucket list that I think I'm gonna put on my fall bucket list was do stand-up comedy, which I still want to do.
Yeah.
Still terrified, but that's one that's like major, I guess, or like more major than some others.
That's like putting yourself in front of people.
But I think one of the things that I'm trying to do with this bucket list is be a little bit more like frugal. I don't know if that's the word, but I want to do things that are like less like, like go to this restaurant or like, but something that's like a little bit more of like personal project-y.
Yeah.
So yeah, although there will definitely be a good number of like, try this food. Like,
yeah. Ooh, I'm excited for the fall.
Me too. What's on yours?
Honestly, I haven't thought about it.
Still time.
Is it though? It's basically fall.
I know. That's why, it's going to be this next week probably. We can get pumpkin spice espresso martinis and write out our bucket lists and gel pen.
Exciting. Okay, I'll write mine tonight maybe and then we'll see.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet because I feel like it was kind of just coincided. I didn't cross off everything on my summer bucket list, which like I'm so much of a like type A person where I'm like, if I don't cross it off, like I'll feel like really shitty. So I was like, after that I was like kind of disheartened and I was like, do I want to do a fall bucket list? I'm gonna feel like such a failure.
No, it's just like it's like a measure of personal growth, you know?
That's true, you're right. This bucket list I'll have even more crossed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there'll be like different. You know, every experience is different.
That's
and,
true.
Like, it's a good way to celebrate the season, even if you don't get everything done.
That's true. Okay, I'm gonna write mine tonight and I'll share them with you.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'll add more to mine and
yes. Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I had for you. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about or any questions?
I don't think so. That was super fun.
Yeah. See, I told you it was gonna be chill, conversational. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, the end of all my podcasts, I ask my guests
this is the scary part.
The first question, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Probably like don't like say no to yourself for other people. That's like not how it's phrased, but I don't know if you know what. Yeah. So basically like if you're thinking about doing something, like you should just do it. You shouldn't be like, no, because of this. Like if you're going to get rejected, like you're going to get rejected, but like don't do it to yourself.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's like,
it's kind of like giving yourself permission kind of thing.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Like, it's okay if somebody says no, or like if you don't get accepted to like some program that you applied for or something like that. Because like, what if you do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like thinking like that is really, it's just like positive in the sense of like,
I guess
giving yourself more opportunities.
Yeah, and I guess it like helps you or makes you put yourself out there more too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's okay that sometimes things don't work out. Like, that's something that I'm not always the best about accepting too. Mm-hmm. But like at a certain point, you just have to like accept it, that like nothing's perfect. And sometimes things are gonna, like, people are gonna say no, but it's life, you know, you'll just move on, keep living.
No, I love it. That's actually really good advice, which I feel like everyone should hear. Okay, on the flip side, I hope you thought of one by now. What is the worst advice you've ever given?
I thought about, I have a stupid joke answer, so I'll give you that one first. When I was like a kid, I have contacts now, but like I had glasses, and somebody oh my goodness, somebody told me that these purple glasses were a good choice for me. If you have like thick framed purple glasses, maybe you can pull them off, but like that was bad advice. Whoever told me that I could pull this off, I could not. But like probably the real bad advice I would say is like, and I don't think this is necessarily bad in all situations, but like never give up or like never quit. Like sometimes it's just like something's not working for you and it's okay for you to, you know, this isn't serving me. Like I should move on. Like maybe I should change major or something like that. Like sometimes it's not worth the effort and stress. And like you have to come to a point where, you know, forgive yourself. Like if you're not able to do something that you like wanted to do, like it's almost like a little bit going back to the bucket list thing. Like it's okay to not finish everything that you said you were going to finish, as long as you're like doing your best. And like that's also something that's like a little bit gray area for me. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm not doing my best. Like my best would be like accomplishing everything perfectly, but like that's kind of impossible. And like you gotta be easier on yourself sometimes. So
I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. It took a lot of thought.
From this morning till now, that's a really good advice.
Yeah, no, honestly, I've been thinking about that all week.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Okay, well, the last question. I don't know if you ever read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but
I did. Well, actually, I read this. I don't even know if I read this. My dad got me the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teenagers as a teenager.
I didn't know there was
I think they like made all the spin-offs, you know, as they do.
Okay, well, the original book, obviously, is the book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but in the book, there's an exercise where it asks you to think of yourself in your deathbed and someone is reading your eulogy. And the point of this exercise is for you to figure out like how you want to live your life, right? So like in college, my freshman year, like English teacher made all of us do this so that we would live our lives, you know, with intention. Yeah. And then so basically, I don't know why that was like a background information.
No, I like that background information actually, because I didn't know where you got this from.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, aside from the book.
So it was kind of like, I think ever since then, like I've been pretty intentional with my life. But anyways, so basically the point of the exercise is that like someone is reading your eulogy and what do you want them to say about you?
I think it's a hard question, right? I think I would want them to say that I was like a kind person and that I made a positive impact on the people that are in my life. Hopefully I do. Depends on the day. And probably just that I was like adventurous and open to trying new things.
That's so funny because that's on mine too.
Yeah. I think those are like pretty good things to be. So, you know, hopefully that's how I'm living my life. I will think about it more in the future.
These bucket lists are definitely showing that side of you.
I love the bucket lists. Y'all should make that too.
Everyone needs to make a bucket list.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Send them in. Christina will repost them.
I know. Oh my God. That would be so... Should I do like a submission form, like a Google form?
Wait, can you?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
We can put our boyfriend applications in the Google
form. Oh my God. There's so many applications.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, thank you again for being on my podcast.
Of course.
I had so much fun doing this.
So did I.
Okay, I'm glad you had fun. I hope you're not nervous anymore.
No. And now that we've gotten through the worst advice I've ever given, that was it.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you again. And maybe if you want to come back on, I would love to have you back.
I would love to come back.
Okay. Well, next week you'll see her again. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, thank you.
Of course.
Yay. Cut.